Joining us now is the head coach of Utah State, coming off a win over UTEP 28-16. Bronco Mendenhall, kind enough to join us. Coach, how are you?
Hey, Coach.
Hey, how you doing?
Very good.
Doing well. Now that you've had a couple days to decompress and watch the film and break it down, anything else jump out at you or surprise you, or something that maybe you didn't notice in postgame that you've noticed that you're particularly proud of in how your team performed?
Sometimes as the head coach, the game looks way different on film than it did in person. Other times it looks similar. This one was similar. I thought our team was well prepared, considering all the moving pieces and bringing it together for week one. I thought consistency. I thought the complementary nature of football that we played from beginning to end. Relatively clean play. I thought our special teams performed at a really high level, not only kicking but covering, where some of the miscues kind of came out. I didn't address special teams penalties, so that was something. I think 5 maybe in the second half, special teams specifically, operationally mostly, and so I missed that during the game. That of the penalties, there was a significant number that kind of came in that phase, and then I just had more clarity on some of the protection issues we had quarterback wise or sack wise, excuse me. But the rest I saw, man, pretty cleanly, and I just thought it was a really strong start for our program and for everyone in it. So I was encouraged.
Really strong and exciting, and we can get to the pressured things later. I want to talk about Bryson Barnes. Obviously he gives you what you needed on the field in terms of passing yards and rushing yards. Did you get everything else you needed from Bryson Barnes with leadership, control, and poise?
Yeah, so I think it started with that. The leadership, control, and poise is absolutely the strength and the experience he has, his age, and just having played college football and having played it on a big stage and big stages. So I think that certainly helped. Now, as the primary starter and within a new system, there's, in relation to your question, did we get everything that we needed? I'm not sure that's possible from anyone. So there's ways to improve, but the majority, I would say, he did really, really well. Now there's some things timing-wise just on when the ball needs to be delivered, trusting his first read. But, man, keeping drives alive, moving the pocket, moving the football, improvising, but also executing within. Super strong start, just all things considered.
I love the human element of what these guys go through and their progression, not only as players, but as human beings as well. And I know that's something that you value as well. And I was trying to tell Hans a little bit, and then I thought, well, I'm not going to tell him. I'm going to let Bronco tell him where Miles Davis was, as you told us during the postgame, where he was and where he is now in his progression and the credit he should take for, or he should get for what he's been able to do.
Yeah, Miles, I remember visiting with he and his father in my office about the opportunity there would be at Utah State for him. And I've shared this a couple times, but I think most of us as human beings, it's just amazing to be both needed and wanted. And they're not the same thing. You could be needed in a program, but maybe something either by personality or something else where you're not really wanted or not really loved and liked. And you could be, loved and liked, but maybe not needed, where the position or whatever you're needed to do is just, you don't have that big a chance to make a difference. I presented to him that there was both here. And then Miles showed up to work out. And, yeah, our program's demanding. And we love challenge, and we love rites of passage, and we love becoming and doing new things. And Miles struggled to finish the workouts. And if he did, he was at the very back. And there was a look of kind of despair on his face of like, what have I signed up for? And by the time spring practice was over, there was a different resolve. And as he trained throughout the summer and moved colors in our system, talk about deliberate and fiercely and ferociously motivated, and the use of his journal and what we use in our program from a mental performance side, and the conditioning and the body composition changes to where he's now leading the runs. And it just is, he saw what he needed to do, acknowledged where he was, took the feedback that we gave him, wasn't offended by it, and just went to work. And it was just so much fun to watch him have success as the primary ball carrier, the primary all-purpose yards player. Because I really like to, when I visit with players, I want the choice they're making to work out for them as much as for us. And it's just better for everyone when, the right player at the right position chooses the right program to where they can really be fulfilled. And it's gratifying just to see the start that he had.
Speaking of the right player and the rite of passage and everything that embodies what I would consider a Bronco Mendenhall player, Bronson Olival has gone through so much in Logan and has just stayed the course with Utah State. Such a loyal, committed individual. Talk about Bronson Olival's game, what you saw from him, and just your overall impressions of that kid.
Oh, the best is yet to come. And visiting with him in my office, and when you hear him speak, there's maturity and there's wisdom at a pretty young age. Kind of an old soul in a young body, but his folks they prepared him so well for life and his values. And his parents have been leaders in their faith, and it certainly is reflected on him. His teammates have elected him a leadership council member and a team captain. And there's just a quiet presence and a commitment that just drives, and consistency that drives who he is. And man, those kind of individuals are exactly what I want Utah State football to be. And I want to attract and bring as many of those type of young people, right, that their mindset is exceptional, their maturity is great, but also they're good players, and he fits all of that.
Had a chance to chat with Avenger after the game as well as Miles Davis, and what really jumped out to me is they're both good human beings and good souls, and they both kind of have that old soul feel to them. Is that something that you're able to identify in recruiting, and because it seems like a lot of these players we talk to have that same kind of vibe?
It's who I like to train and to be surrounded by. And while they don't have to be finished and polished, they do have to have a sense of maturity, that they're willing to work, they're willing to help other people, they're willing to be active in the community, they're willing to be great examples to those around them, they're willing to be representatives of this community, and trusted as such. And I just my whole staff, as you know, is full of my former players as coaches. The kind of kids that you're talking about in Miles and Noah, and you could add many more, that's my next staff, right? So there is the heir apparent of how the succession plan works here. They're demonstrating every day that they are the exact kind of person that I'd want the next generation to be led by. And that really, I think, has had a lot to do with maybe the consistency of success of the programs that I've led, is just by the leadership.
All right, Bronco, let's jump into some of the pressures and sack situation as you go back and look at the film. How fixable are those things?
Man, they came in about every category, so absolutely all fixable. There's and you'll, I think you and our listeners will recognize. So there's decision making at quarterback. That's one, and there's no need to take probably 3 of the sacks where the ball could have been delivered or thrown away or et cetera. So there's those. Then there's communication issues, and that can happen between the offensive front alone, the offensive front / tight end, and the offensive front / running back. So that's kind of bucket number 2, is the communication, totally fixable. And those are just identification things that sometimes the identification was right, the communication didn't follow, or vice versa. And so those are totally fixable. And then maybe the last bucket for right now, and to simplify it, is just in the technical. And that means, right, the appropriate technique of hand placement, kick step, and doing the things that are necessary within the technical part of it. And there was some of that as well. And sometimes, right, that's correctable once it's identified. Sometimes that takes a little bit longer, but it also is based on matchups. So, yeah, I'm really encouraged, and watched it on the field and really wasn't alarmed, but just knew that wasn't as tight as it needed to be from an execution standpoint.
When you looked at the film on your defense, particularly the back end, I was impressed with your corners and your safeties. When you went back and looked on the film, would you agree with that assessment?
Consistent. We aligned, and so we knew that UTEP, right, was a spread team, lots of empty, fast tempo, spraying the ball, delivering it quickly, getting the ball to their athletes in space, and with kind of a dynamic young head coach that's looking to make a name for himself through scoring and a type of play. And so we chose, right, a style of play that really put our athletes in space as well and gave us the best leverage possible. And so I think they executed it we knew, right, their chance, if they had a chance to score, was through big plays. And there's only 3 on the day. Very few yards, very few dynamic plays for UTEP. And we were just consistent, and then added enough pressure to close out the game, that were causing incompletion, sacks, and when our offense was struggling a little bit, that we could play complementary football.
Coach, Scotty and I's hearts are both in Cache County. Like we both have roots there, both love that place, and, we think highly of the people there. And we've also felt like it's a hotbed for big emotion, big crowds, crazy fans. Kind of your first take of your home crowd and your hope as they continue to embrace a winning program. One thing that I've really tried to do through social media, through radio, is let people know, hey, the work is going in on the football side, like hard work. And now it's time to kind of react and show the respect to that. But your thoughts on that crowd?
I was just so grateful and appreciative and thankful. Our student section, the herd, is unlike anything that I've experienced. Now, I've experienced it as a visiting coach, and I still remember. And man, that's tough.
Oh, it's tough.
But to be on the home side is just really, you feel supported. But there's a sense of community here. And there's a sense of, I think, true connection and hope that people really want our program to be not only exceptional, but I sense as much how we do it is important. So, yeah, we want to win, and no one wants to more than me, but like how, meaning, with what kind of young people and with the values that kind of reflect the value of the Valley and our state. It just, I think all that matters. And so I thought it was a really strong start. I felt, and my team felt super supported, and I sense an alignment coming, and I know my job, right? And that's, the wins have to happen, but how we win and with whom, to me at this stage at Utah State football, is every bit as important. And I want all of that. And I want that for the community. And I think that's what they want as well. And so as the trajectory keeps going, as the consistency manifests, I just see it coming together beautifully.
I know it's very early in the week. You've got Texas A&M coming up on Saturday, big venue, road trip into the heart of college football in the SEC there. What kind of mindset do you have to have with your team as they go in as probably heavy underdogs, but to have a mindset of wanting to compete and win that game?
Well, that's why we're going. They can sightsee later. And, we're going to win the football game. Again, it's not, there's nothing that's too big about this stage. One of the values of being an experienced head coach is just that. I've seen the different patches. I've seen the different uniforms. I've seen the different conferences. I've seen the different number of seats. Ultimately, you play football. And focusing on any other thing besides that is just in the way. And I hope they're excited. I'm talking about our team. I know they are, but we're actually going to compete. We're going to win. We're going to play. We're going for that. And this just happens to be a cool setting we get to do it in. And I'm just way more process oriented after acknowledging quickly the history and tradition and how much fun it will be to play well. Then we just go to the process.
Well, congratulations on a great outing. Just a beautiful opening game.
Absolutely.
Big win, and a lot of great play. A lot of things to be excited about in Cache County. So congratulations, Bronco.
Appreciate you both. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.
You got it.
Bye.
There he is, Bronco Mendenhall, head coach at Utah State, right here on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.